Oh, it feels so weird to not have the headphones on.
I'm liberated.
I
Wait,
know.
your light isn't. Oh, yeah, duh.
Alrighty.
Hi. We're Frequency Broads. Did you know that?
Did you?
I'm Victoria. This is Tara. Like it, share it, subscribe it, prescribe it. Tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your grandma. Let's go. Hey. I am like,
Okay, girl. Here we are.
listen, someone was talking to me about the news the other day and just like how certain political parties or certain like propagandas are dominating the news industry. And I was like, you know what? We have a podcast. We're news agents. We're galactic newscasters. Like, it actually made me feel like we have way more credibility than I've maybe given us credit for in the past.
Right?
Because this is actually more interesting, more factual than what you would see on Fox News. I said it.
In the first 3 minutes. Oh, no.
I know.
Well, we're coming in hot today, girl. Okay. You know what else I thought about as a little side note? And I know we said it last episode, but you were like, I'm Victoria. And I wanted to be like, and I'm Tara. And we're Frequency Broads. Okay. Anyway, welcome to you, lovely. How are you feeling today? Little freak checky girl. I mean, you're coming in and I'm loving it. It's like hot in a new way. It's like ice flames. Well, no, that sounds like icy bitch. That's where I'm sitting right now. I don't know. You're bringing in a heat, but in a fun way, and I like it.
I'm different. I've gone through something real deep. I feel like my spirit has been like completely emptied from me, and slowly this new nectar is dripping in that I am like, what? I like looked in the mirror and I was like, who was in me for a few weeks? Because I feel like and we're going to talk a little bit about dying while alive, so stay tuned for that topic. But yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll probably talk about it
in 5 minutes.
Yeah. I feel like it's a longer, go ahead.
Whole episode.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Who knows? Let's see.
Give me your free check.
Okay. I'm coming in hot. Not just in the way that I look. No, I'm kidding. But I'm not. So remember last episode when I said, ooh, Age of Aquarius, I wonder what that's going to do to me. They say villain era, but I don't even know if I could be in my villain era. Well, the morning happened and I was, and still am, heavily in my villain era. I feel that I have not felt this sacred rage in so long. And rage is such a strong word because it's really not that emotional. It's very interesting. It's just like, so there's two parts to my villain era right now. One is like towards myself in a healthy, positive way, which we will get to and I want to get to. But the other way is just like, it has nothing to do with patience. It has nothing to do with my ability or inability to like hold space and hear somebody. But I am so fucking, I don't care what time it is, done with, I guess, just like stupid people. Like and I know that sounds so empathetic of me, but I'm just like, you're an adult, you know better. And if you don't, you better fucking try. And I got to this point, like things at work, even like, to be honest, like the students, I'm like, you know better. Like, I'm like, all cards on the deck now. Grow up, be better. That sounds so harsh, but it's just like, you know what? I'm just being a bitch. I am. I'm just being a bitch. And I know that it may come off like uncomfortable for people, but I'm just like, I will never at this age of my life start to stir the pot. I will even let you get a few turns in. But once you cross that line, I'm at the point where I'm like, heads are about to be rolling.
You're dumping the pot on them and then putting it on their heads and walking away.
The way that I have been talking is so graphic that I feel like I would it would make people uncomfortable, but I'm like, the villain era for me right now is boundaries, and they're fucking hard. I'm like, here's the boundary, and if you cross it, you are not going to like the response that you get. And I don't mean it in a malicious way, but I mean like, I'm not gonna play nice anymore. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, I understand. Oh, you know, like you did have this happen, or this was your perspective. Like at this stage, for certain people in certain situations, I'm just like, no, I know you know better. So I'm expecting you to do better. So I'm coming in hot.
There is no veil right now. There's no illusions. There's no holding back. If you're hiding something, it will eat you alive.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling that? I think I'm also witnessing it in other people too, because they like kind of short circuit and they're like, my regular programming isn't working and I can't like do the same BS anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a big old change happening right now.
And that's really, I think, what the collective is feeling too, is like, listen, we are going to lead with compassion. We are going to like put our best foot forward. But if you're going to intentionally step on my foot as I put my best foot forward, you best believe I'm putting on my steel-toed boots. Like, I'm here, I have work to do, and I'm taking it seriously, and I'm showing up how I have to show up.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking you to do anything. But if you're going to come at me, I'm not sitting down anymore. And I think the collective feels that way too, is like, we need to take care of ourselves. But if you're going to come at us, we're going to stand up and we're going to fight and we're going to be there together. And that's like how I'm feeling inside about myself. Is like all versions of me are like, no, we're not letting people do this to us anymore. Like, what? And the other side of that is I'm not letting myself do it to me anymore.
Yeah.
And so like both of those things are happening, and it feels very intense. But at the same time, it feels very liberating. It feels very freeing to just be like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. Like, step up or step out.
She's fighting the good fight, duh.
So take a deep breath, Tara. I'm sorry I'm coming in hot, because I am very much like happy and excited and like eager to be here, and I have great things to share. But it's just, there's a fire in my heart. And it's ready to fight for myself and fight for the people around me.
I was just thinking on the way here, literally Portland it's the worst drivers, literally the worst drivers you'll ever experience. But I'm like, they're all high and drunk, right? Like that's what or they're just not.
I don't know.
There's some developmental issues happening
Or
out
I'm
here.
like, the NPCs like didn't get the full programming for driving. They like forgot. They were like, that one's not important. They're a nature state. They'll bike, ride, and walk. And they forgot to add in the part on how to drive. Or they don't have driver's ed out here.
What?
They don't require driver's ed.
What?
Exactly.
Oh. My tax dollars at work. God. Okay, I listened to a podcast the other day and I cannot stop thinking about this, and I really want to share because, you know, we talk about masculine, feminine. Gender is sort of, you know, one of those things we tiptoe around because we really do honor people's choices and how they want to show up in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have always in the back of my mind been like, why are so many kids like, I get hormones are wacky, like stuff is happening in our food, in our air, our water, whatever. It's like affecting our hormones at any age. But glyphosate has been clinically shown to replicate the opposite gender.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Glyphosate, which is sprayed on wheat and other crops, that if you eat pretty much anything in the standard American diet, you are consuming some level of glyphosate. And what glyphosate does is it has the like opposite gender expression occur in your body. So you
like, meaning like chromosomes, you mean like XY and XX? Like it plays off a different chromosome in a sense?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. It totally alters your DNA to be like the opposite gender in which you were born. And it's like opposite day on earth, right? I think we've been like accepting that that's like anything we thought we knew. It's like the opposite is the truth. And like, so you're sort of constantly always like, what's what? But I thought that was a crazy fact. And I'll include a link to that podcast episode. It was a Layla Martin interview. Amazing. But it was all about, it was a woman who is an activist in like the food transparency world. And holy crap.
I wonder, because, I feel that everything is twofold between like what's the physical matter here and like also like energetically what's happening. I'm wondering too if it's just as we evolve as a species in our consciousness, not like in our physicality, but in our consciousness, we're beginning to fully embody and express both of our feminine and masculine.
That's different though, right?
Yeah, but I mean like maybe within that like comes the physical expression in what we feel we present as well.
Well, there's a fine line between that and glyphosate affecting your DNA and your genetic.
Well, no, I'm saying both happening simultaneously. It's gross.
It's really gross. And I think people need to be made aware of exactly what food is doing to you on a molecular level.
It's really crazy.
That I think let's do an episode on food.
Because even just the small fact of like take anything you like even like a sugary cereal, a store-bought cereal or whatever, and even though we know hands down that that's not good, just look at what's allowed in our sugary cereal and in the same brand in the UK or in another country. Like, yes, both are processed and not great, but the capacity at which we allow Americans to consume that are like literally illegal in other countries to consume at all speaks volumes. So yeah, I think definitely a food episode would be.
Also, the fact that doctors today still they're not required to understand nutrition and the effects of food and healing the body, which is a really good segue for our topic today.
What, girl, that was so good.
Newscaster life.
You're like, I need you to like take your papers and hit the desk.
I know.
Which takes us to our next segment. Over to Tara But yes, healing is what we want to talk about today. And as I've been saying already this season, the information that I'm getting, and I feel Victoria is kind of feeling the same way. It's new. It's a deepening of the understandings we already had, but it's also like the people need to know now because energy is moving so fast. Like give them the news. Like they're like, bro, you got to deliver this news because there's something else coming and you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
So I want you to really embrace this episode with an open heart because a lot of these things you may have already heard, even from our own mouths. However, sometimes, even if the words and phrase is exactly the same, the frequency in which it is shared awakens the cells in a different way. So if you hear something you're like, I already know this, just sit with it for a moment and see if it clicks something new for you because all of this clicks something new for me.
Also, how lucky are you that you already know this?
Oh, true.
I get like, I'm a little snob sometimes when I'm like, I already knew that. But then I'm like, oh, that's said so eloquently and that's said in such a way that it hits different.
Yes.
So I hear you.
That's what it is. And partially dance the other night, flood of downloads.
Yeah.
We opened some kind of portal. But also, like you said, I'm like, listening to podcasts or reading articles or watching videos online. And I'm just like, as soon as they start, I'm like, oh, I know what they're going to start talking about. And I'm like, oh, I'll give them the view as we love to do to our community. As you should with us. And then something, like you said, just locks in a little bit deeper. And I hope that the things that we're going to share tonight do the same for you.
Like, get on with it. I want to know what you're going to share.
So first of all, I feel like when you're thinking of healing, remember it's a long journey. It's a lifelong journey. We're never done because we're not broken. And healing is not the proper word to be using, but it's a word that helps us understand to be in this realm together. Because healing means we're broken and we are not broken. So let me be clear in that. But I take this as book 2 I'm like deepening it a little bit more. So I have a long ass list. Okay. And I first want to talk about that process of this quote unquote healing journey. And I feel that a lot of us, when we begin, get stuck in self-analyzing. And from my psychology background and people I know in psychology, they're like, oh, self-analyzing isn't really that great. And I agree, but I also think it's necessary. You need to take the data of who you are, what you've experienced, how did it make you feel? Why do you respond in these ways? Why is this your trigger? Where did it come from? The whole first couple seasons was me just talking about taking data on my own life. And it really got to teach me who my inner child was, my shadow, these other versions of me, my ancestors. Super important on our healing journey. But it's now important to step into the self-understanding and self-acceptance. And shifting the perspective of why, because we already know the why, into what. Get out of the brain of the why and into the heart of what. What am I experiencing? What am I feeling? What do I need? What do I want in the future? What do I have to do to get there? This helps us process a lot quicker with acceptance, which is what we definitely need to shift into, because overanalyzing then becomes judgment and negative self-talk. We don't want to get there, but it is important to know who we are.
So timely. Today, we had a DEI call at work where it's a monthly call. There's always a topic. This one was about emotions. And the facilitator said, name your emotion and then say, I feel blank. I need blank. And when you're in a state of just trying to assess, right? Like it can be as simple as I feel, I need. And maybe you don't even need anything. Maybe you just need to say how you feel and find the word for how you feel. And he shared this emotion chart of like 100 different emotions or something. And I'm like, that's like me in a day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I think with self-acceptance also comes acceptance of the emotion. I'm going to read this quote, and Andrew actually read it to me from somewhere, and I thought it was so powerful, I immediately wrote it down. It says, the reason we are all so miserable may be because we are working so hard to avoid being miserable. So you're saying you feel all of those feelings, pleasant and unpleasant. And the reason why you're able to move through all these emotions, right, is because you're not holding on to any of them. And I think where we get stuck in our day-to-day is if we wake up and we feel like we woke up on the wrong side of the bed, all we crave and tell ourselves is, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel this way. I want to feel like this, or I want to feel like that. I don't want to be scared. I don't want to be anxious. But you're resisting the feeling and the emotion. And this self-acceptance is, yeah, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. And emotion, as we know, physiologically and energetically, is energy, is something you can use. So when you accept the emotion and you say, okay, this is what it is. This is what I am feeling. This is what I need. I use the energy to do something. Then guess what? It's over. You used
Sometimes.
up. Well, depends on, if it's a long ongoing situation. But in those moments, that's how we process things a little bit faster. And the way you can think of it is like, if you resist the emotion, even by saying, I don't want to feel this way, you're not using up the emotion. You're not using it. You're storing it. But do you want to store unpleasant emotions? No. You're so easy to use up joy. You're so easy to use up bliss, or I hope so, as you should. Use it up and be happy, and then you find this unpleasantness and you're like, I don't want this. And now you're stuck in that.
I don't know. I'm like so stuck on this thought of like happiness and how so many people have the goal of being happy, and it's just never been a goal of mine. Like having fun and being happy, like that is just, and maybe it feels so basic to me. And it just like, that quest is weird. Like my journey is feel all the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Get to experience feeling all the feelings because that's the point of being human. So to focus solely on happiness is limiting you from ecstasy and bliss and da-da-da. Like there's so many other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the way we get there is just by accepting what is because you want to experience it all.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yes. And that leads to something that blew my mind 2 seconds before you walked in that I'm so excited to share with you.
What?
Name?
Bashar.
Bashar. I don't know why I can never remember or say it properly. Bashar. I almost said it again.
Bashar.
I want to be like brah. Bashar. I was just watching a video and he was talking about how everything that is happening to you, and here's one of those things that you may already know, but really listen to it. Everything that is happening to you right now is happening to you for a reason. We know that, right? Everything is for the greatest good. If you can stay in the positive, not feel happy and chase bliss, but stay in the positive of giving the mind frame of this unpleasant feeling is here for a reason. I'm going to accept it. I'm going to lean into it because it's going to work out best case scenario if I do. But he said these words and I went, oh my God. He said, trust the programming in the matrix. Trust that the reality programming is giving you exactly what you need.
Did you just see that?
No.
I don't. Okay. I don't know.
They were like, are you listening? No.
I know.
But I thought about it. I was like, there's pieces of the reality in a sense that we've created it, that we want to break away from. The programming that those in power on the physical realm is projecting. Yes, we want to separate from that. We want to come back to authenticity. But whatever is being placed on your path is there for a reason, for course correct, for growth, for involvement, whatever it is. And when he said, trust the matrix, and I was like, oh my God, stop trying to break out of the matrix. Stop trying to be like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I want to be in the ethereal. I want to be out there. I want to trust the matrix. You came down here. You came down here to experience it all, to feel it all. So trust what's happening to you. Trust that and the way he said it, I was like, holy shit, if this is truly a simulation, if this is truly a simulation that each of us as individual galactic beings put on the VR set or went into deep hypnosis to experience, then trust the video game is basically what he's saying. And I was like, self-acceptance on another level. Blew my mind.
Not only of you, but of the collective consciousness.
Yes.
Which it's really easy to deny we're part of.
Yeah.
But oh, so silly to do.
Yes.
Okay. I have to share that this is not where I thought this healing episode was going to go, because in my mind, I'm like, dry brush, sauna, cold plunge, nervous system reset. So this really is like the book 2.0.
Yeah.
And just a really good reminder that we're here to experience life to its fullest in all aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I was also reflecting on the fact that like the trauma that triggers us is only because we experience something unpleasant. And it could be, I'm not using unpleasant to belittle it. It could be really traumatic and terrible. But the issue was that there wasn't someone there, hopefully one to save us. That's the first thing. But when that can't happen, someone to teach us how to process it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the major issue, is we experience this trauma and we have to wait until we're fucking 25 years old to figure out how to process that. And
or 60, like, or on your deathbed.
Or never.
Or never.
I hope if you're listening to this, you're already on this journey for yourself. And if not, then welcome. Because it is challenging. It is hard.
Yeah.
It is unpleasant. And it is absolutely necessary.
I was going to say it absolutely is one of the hardest things about existence.
Mm-hmm.
And I so feel for you if you have started down this spiritual path and you're like, this hurts.
Mm-hmm.
This sucks. It's awful. And a lot of people go into like a psychosis state because
Mm-hmm.
they start to unravel and it is too much. And like you said, they don't have the support. And, traditional therapy isn't always the best way to go, even though I do highly recommend it as one
Mm-hmm.
of the pathways. And because you do need many pathways, you need many types of support. And so it's kind of limitless in terms of like what you can use to actually heal.
Mm-hmm.
I just really feel for anyone who started down the path and thought, oh my God, this is hell. This is the pathway to hell. Because it really does appear that way at first or at some point down the road. And I feel like I just recently went through that. And I had this like kind of surrendering and almost this like, I hate spirituality. I'm done with this shit. I'm done with all these practices. It's not serving me. I need to like focus on something else. And I'm like, I think this is when people like turn to religion because they're like, just tell me what to do. Tell me what to believe. It is too much for me to think and feel for myself. I need someone else to take the reins so I can like get back in balance with myself and then follow whatever order you chose. But if you're like, no, that path isn't for me, or you already did it, and you're still down this path and it feels very dark and scary and painful, you're not alone in this. And it's really important to talk about the feeling of dying while you're still alive. Some people call this a dark night of the soul. Some people experience it with the blink of an eye and like, poof, I'm creating a new state of reality. The universe is in my mind and poof, I'm going to just blink and wake up into a new reality, a new universe, a new experience. This pain though, it doesn't play. And the intelligence of the heart to remember and to relate the pain that you're experiencing now to past pain and try to justify it it's a thing. And then also the pain in which you're experiencing now and you storing the memory of what you're experiencing right now to be used in the future, you can actually really alter your experience down the road by taking note, taking just an observation of what is happening to me right now and choosing whether or not you want to carry that story forward as to why, because so many people get stuck in a loop. Our minds are really great storytellers. They're really good creators. And in a world that feels like it's being destroyed from out under our feet, it is so important to create, but leave those stories that you tell yourself on repeat to the side. They're no longer needed. It's time to create in new ways, and you create by thinking your reality into existence.
Oh my God. Yes, girl. I'm like, first of all, what came through while you were speaking was those who are just starting this journey or are still on this journey and like working through everything, the trauma you've experienced and your unpleasant experiences. It becomes challenging in a different way halfway through. And it's something to be really mindful of, because the first time it's super challenging just because it freaking hurts.
Yeah.
Deep down to literally your core, your very essence of being, it hurts. Because if like this emotion is coming up and you're not using it, you're storing it, and it's years of storing it, then once you bring it up to the surface again, that's going to hurt. But the second fold of that is then bringing it up to the surface. You now have to hold this. And like you said, the vision for the future, because you're emitting a frequency. And as you're doing shadow work, and this is why, again, as it should be and as it's supposed to, and as they program the matrix to be, that you face your traumas or cycles again during your healing journey, because you need to see it from a different perspective. You need to go, there it is. That's the thing right there. Hold on. Now I can start to rewire it because I'm starting to recognize it. So being really mindful during this journey that you're not admitting that fear, that trauma, because the longer you do, the longer you're in that reality. And something I learned recently is that, and I'm actually going to Google how many, but your heart, just like your brain, stores neurons. And neurons hold emotion, memory, feelings, those kinds of things. And when we do this self-analyzing, we're doing all the work as needed up in the brain. But we emit our frequency, which creates our reality, from our heart. So if our heart only remembers pain because we have not been processing through our heart, then you will always, no matter how smart you are about yourself, create a reality that causes pain. If you can begin to work through the process of your heart in self-acceptance, in love, in still hoping for the future, then we start to reprogram and focus on not remembering the happy times of we were on the swings and we did that, but feeling it in the heart. Remember what being loved feels like. Remember what security feels like. Whether you gave it to yourself or you had it from your support group, you start reworking the neurons in your heart, and that's how you change the frequency in which you emit and become the creator of a reality that you actually want to be in. And that's why the other aha thing where I was like, I've always said this, said it on the podcast, but it really sunk in, is that's why when we're manifesting, we don't say, I want this, and we're waiting for it, because the feeling in the heart is waiting. So your reality will be one of waiting. When you manifest, it's the I am statement, because you're supposed to feel it in your heart that you already have it. Not just say, I already have the money I need, but feel what the money is going to make you feel like. It's probably security. So focus on feeling secure in your heart and watch the manifestation of money come. Focus on feeling supported or joy in your heart and watch whatever it is you're manifesting coming. When we did a question at dance, what are you asking the universe? The first thing that came to me was, I crave to be married and have children with Andrew. I crave it. But if it was given to me right now, besides the ring, I do want it, I would not want it. And I thought, why am I craving something that I don't even want right now? And I said, because it's not the thing. We're always focused on the thing, the situation, the job. It's the feeling. For me, it was security. So how do I embody security so much in my heart that the things that I think will give me security will start to fall into place?
And in order to get really good at feeling into your manifestations, you got to feel all the feels. See where we're getting at?
And this is healing book 2 or 3, because it's not just, take all your feelings and be like,
I feel anxious.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
And it's like, it's okay to feel those things.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to feel those things.
It'll happen every couple seconds, and you can experience a wide range. Like, take an hour. That's a really fun exercise, actually, to sink into your heart. First off, tend to it, to the scar tissue. Maybe you don't even want to acknowledge it at first, how much pain you're carrying in your heart. It's palpable at this point in time. And I feel like we can't ignore it for much longer, but let that be part of your meditation practice, where you sink into your heart and you put all of this nectary goodness onto the scars and wounds and start to explore. Take a little journey into the caverns and the places where the gold and gems are hiding. And then perhaps trust the matrix, and go through a list of emotions and be like, I'm going to feel this. That's almost like training day for feelings.
Yes. I'm going to feel this and I want to not just say it in my head, I want to feel it.
Yeah. That's how you become a master of your reality.
Yes.
Not to quote one of the best Black Sabbath albums, but yeah. What fun training day. Here we come.
I know. And I feel like I've also been thinking about the fact of like when I used to think about changing and shifting my reality, it was a whole to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I got to manifest this. I got to do this. I got to do that. Maybe a ceremony, maybe this, maybe that. Nope. You are literally choosing every second.
Mm-hmm.
So tuning into the emotion, right? Because that's where we choose from and that's where we create from. So being like, okay, I accept that I'm feeling unpleasant and that I'm going to experience this unpleasantness right now. And if you let that run, then I'm sure in due time, you're going to be like, oh, I'm experiencing maybe not joy, but like ease.
Mm-hmm.
Or calmness or groundedness. Let me feel that now. I'm going to create a reality that's like that. And I know it almost sounds like you're not creating it at all then.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is you're creating it from an authentic space because it's not anything it's not supposed to be. And this is where we trust the matrix. We trust that your feelings are messengers. And they're here to tell you something. And it could be to just like open your eyes and look at your reality or to take this energy and create art or music or movement or, you know, use the anxiety feeling to get shit done, right? It's when we start. A great example is the concept between depression versus compression. So depression, we know what that's like, right? We may have not experienced it, but we have a general understanding of what that means. Maybe feeling alone or isolated or sad or overwhelmed or, you know,
or
heavy.
It's one of the deepest states of healing.
And that is the difference between compression and depression. It's putting the positive, quote, light on it without bringing joy and positivity to it. When I'm feeling secluded and like nobody understands me and I'm heavy weighted and I have low energy and I'm sad, that's because I am in a period of compression. I am being asked to go within to find the answers. When we have a negative connotation and story to it, it's depression. And we don't know what to do with ourselves because we're avoiding ourselves. You are literally being pushed by your body and mind to sit with yourself and yourself only. Mm-hmm. And you avoid yourself. You're avoiding the feeling, so it's lasting longer. And trust me, I've suffered from depression. I am not saying by any means it's easy, but it makes it worse when you fight it. It makes it worse when you deny it. When you say, you know what, this may be an opportunity for going inside, for finding the answers I need, for tending to myself, for whatever it is that I'm in a moment of compression. So that's what we mean by feeling all the feels, but also seeing it in a positive light. That doesn't always mean pleasant. It means accepting and knowing there's a reason for it and being, for lack of a better word, happy it's there. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Gratitude for having it. That's that positive spin.
But don't try to have gratitude while you're in it.
No.
You can't.
No.
And truthfully, I've been in a really deep depression and maybe a little bit of compression over the last few weeks, really since my birthday. And it was dark, like the darkest I've ever experienced it. And a few of my intuitive friends reached out and they're like, I feel like something's off with you. I'm like, yeah, no shit. I'm not my bubbly, happy self and I'm not going to pretend to be. But it took me like a week or two into it to be like, actually, let me just tell you, I am not doing well and I'm okay, but I'm not okay. I'm going to be okay. Just send me some love. I'm going to be here on the other side of it. But oh my God. And part of me was like, okay, is it my birthday? Am I like aging? I went and saw The Substance last week with Demi Moore. It's a movie about a substance that you inject into you.
You're like, what? No spoilers here because I do want to see it.
I'm trying to, yeah. But essentially, Demi Moore has a like younger version of herself like emerge from like her inner core.
Wait, like physically?
Yeah. It's pretty gory. But it's so it just really touches on beauty standards, aging, and how women lose their value. Or that's the perception that was programmed into us for a very long time. And women are taking it back. And and it was like such perfect timing for me to see it and be like, first of all, older to me more, always going to be the hottest of the hot. Like, and also what they kept saying is you are one. You are the same person. And it was 1 week on, 1 week off. So they would have to like pump the substance into the body that just like laid there for a week. And then the person who was like getting to live their life at whichever age got a week to do whatever they wanted in that body.
Whoa.
And what they chose to do was so fascinating, because what we choose to do when we get older is subscribe to the idea that we are ugly. We sit in front of a couch. We just cook a bunch of food. We age ourselves by subscribing to the idea that we're actually aging. Like,
but you know what, too? Coming back to your, like, how you've been feeling these past couple weeks. I don't remember if it was the last episode or what, but you mentioned how, like, and at that time, I think you had mentioned to me that you were already, like, going through it. I think I had already reached out to you and been like, But you said, I haven't talked to anybody. I haven't been on social media. I haven't been doing anything. And it felt so good.
yeah.
And I'm sure in the moment it didn't. It felt, and I don't know, not speaking for you, but looking at depression versus compression, in those moments when you're not talking to anybody, not on social media, not like, it does feel isolating. It does feel like, oh my God, like I don't even know who I can go to and what I'm doing and what I would even say. But upon reflection, you're realizing, because you allowed yourself to feel that, you allowed yourself to do that, it was actually more of a compression.
Well, and to be honest, being alone with my thoughts and every like icky, painful emotion felt better to me than being on social media, looking at politics and giving my energy away to bullshit. Like I was just, I cannot. I know how you all feel. I've made mental notes. Trust, I know how you feel. And if you haven't shared, like, kudos to you. I haven't really shared either, because I'm just like, I'm not subscribing to this. That's not what I'm here to do. But if you're here to do that, cool.
I think also with politics, there's everything else outside of politics too. We tend to doom scroll to avoid our feelings when whatever we're scrolling is only going to make us feel worse. When I'm feeling really upset about my relationship, usually about something freaking stupid, and I'm scrolling on Instagram, all I'm seeing is these like really thoughtful guys who, quote unquote, definitely wasn't waiting for the cue from their wife to go do this fucking thing. Oh, he just walked in and saw me like this. Probably not.
No.
Probably not. And here I am going, see, I wish I felt like that. And I'm resisting what I'm feeling right now because I'm craving what I'm seeing on the internet. And that's probably power to you. I know there are men out there that are thoughtful and doing all the things. I love that. But not everyone is. And not everyone is all the time. But when you're scrolling, they sure as hell look like they are.
And when you get on that algorithm, then that starts appearing in your life. Like narcissism and cheating. And like, I feel so much better when I'm not subscribing to the algorithm trying to be programmed into me. Period.
I think that's a great thing to recognize is you want to stay and trust the matrix of being on Earth and Earth's experience, but you do not want to trust the programming from the people on Earth. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying everyone. There are great people. 2 people sitting right here who I hope that you trust in what we are helping to program the collective with. This love and unity and raising the consciousness.
Which is you program it. You get to choose. Stop letting other people program for you.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Trust the matrix in the sense of Earth's experience. However, don't trust anybody. Only trust yourself. Whatever feels aligned for you, whatever feels right for you, whatever feels like your truth today, trust that. You get to decide. Look at all the programming. Look at this, look at that, do this. I don't care. That's fine. I do it too. But then choose which one you're going to allow occupy your goddamn brain and your energy and your sphere and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now that requires training to be able to watch something and not take it on, to be able to hear other people's opinion and take it on. I'm still working on it.
Give us the remedy for that.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just now that I have that distinction in my head between matrix and the programming, or the matrix of Earth versus the programming of humans. Now when I'm seeing programming, I get to go, who is that? Is that Earth's matrix or humans programming? I think that's going to help me. I'll keep you updated on that if that actually works.
Wait, I got a text earlier today. Someone was listening to our validation episode, and she's like, let's talk about aliens sometime. And I was like, actually, we just talked about aliens in our last episode. And I feel like I can't help but continue to talk about aliens slash hybrids slash us from the future, us from the past. Mm-hmm. And something that kind of clicked in my mind today was, what if grays are us from the future? They just experienced nuclear war. And it got me then thinking, so go follow this with, let's walk down this trail. The reason why we're talking about what we're talking about today is because there is an importance in maintaining humanity, in maintaining this version of ourselves that can grow and evolve without having to incorporate AI, without having to have chips implanted into our eyes and wrists and wherever, and to maintain humanity throughout history, it requires more of us to be in our humanity, to be humane. We'll talk about that on a food episode, but yeah, I just had like a little glimpse of like, oh shit, like the real reason why there are so many spaceships circling Earth right now is because there's a huge threat of nuclear disaster, nuclear war. Like, we need to talk about this and not to live in fear, because I really do believe we win the war. We're winning the war. We already won the war. Nuclear is still a threat. Mm-hmm. And there are galactic beings, part of the Galactic Federation, who is monitoring those who have the keys to nuclear war. Mm-hmm. And I really, truly believe that they're going to stop them and or facilitate another outcome is what I should say.
That's interesting. I feel like I need to sit on that a little bit. I agree with what you're saying. Absolutely. The grays being us in the future, I'm like, okay, so maybe that's one reality, and then the Pleiadians is the other reality, which makes me realize, and actually, yeah, okay, hold on. Now it's piecing in with what has been coming through for me is that we already know that all realities exist.
Yeah.
So guess what? There is a reality where there's a nuclear war, and there is a reality where there's not. Which one are you going to occupy based on what you do right now? Based on coming back to humanity. So I can, as crazy as this sounds, there will be people you know who do experience that. And there will be people you know who don't. And the way you can think about it, if that makes no sense to you, is that we are all living in our complete own realities. And Victoria and I have our complete own realities. We are just choosing every moment, and it happens to align up with each other. But at any given moment, Victoria or I can choose something different and be in a completely different reality. Thankfully, I don't think that will happen because we're channeling from the same thing, following our same guidance and helping each other along the way. But know that both of those realities are going to exist.
We're both employed by the same newscast station.
Absolutely. So they're like, we need you on the same reality. But know that all versions of this will happen. Mm-hmm. You just get to choose what you occupy. So I can 100% see how both the Pleiadians and the Greys are us, because they're just from different realities. And we are multidimensional beings. And when we think we have to birth into this multidimensional being, that's crazy. You already are. You already shift realities minute by minute, day by day. It's just becoming conscious and skilled enough to make the choice yourself, to have the awareness to choose. But you're already a multidimensional being. You are already stepping into so many realities, so many versions of this video game you are stepping into. So I'm choosing the one that's more humane and is going to keep humanity human.
And just to back up, if any of this is like, what are you talking about? I've totally surrendered to the fact that so many people listen to stupid to nothing. Like literally people just bantering. And I'm like, you choose to just listen to people BS
Well,
all
granted,
day?
I do too.
Well,
not all day, but I do have
sometimes
my...
there's substance to it.
Well, yes.
But a lot of things that the general public likes crap. They like nothing.
Yeah.
They like to be able to tune out. But I'm like, where are you tuning into when you're listening to that? So if you're listening to us and you've made it this far, whether you're tuned out, tuned in, just don't try to process it.
Yeah. Let it wash over you, and all of a sudden,
It'll click.
a month later, you'll go,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Oh.
Yeah.
And then you'll do exactly what I did and journal and go, oh my God, yeah, I've heard this and said it a million times, but now it clicks.
Yep. Wow to this episode of your evening news.
Meet us next week. Same time, same place. I need like a little, like I wish I had the papers, but I also wish like there was like,
We have that.
See you next week. Okay, bye. Love you.